Hi, it's Stu, and in the making of this video, I'm about to finish all but one of last week's TBR. I'm bumping one of last week's TBR into future weeks because, in fact, there wasn't the digital version. It's on hold for me. In my Libby app from the library, and the print in the actual book is a little bit small, and so I found that I really found going back and forth from physical and digital super useful. So as soon as that comes off hold and goes into my shelf, I'll just put it on whatever week's TBR that's coming. So I'll keep it on my little TBR shelf for upcoming weeks. A little bit more about that in my wrap up from the second half wrap up from last week's TBR. This week or reading period, around a week, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, TBR challenge looks like this. These are the books I'll be reading, and they are, I decided to do because I'm doing this switch to using more media, different kinds of media to read books. I decided to kind of honor the physical books on my shelf. And so this TBR has to do with like the type of book. By that I mean, in this case, this is a subscription book. I know because it's got the stamp of a book of a month. So this is a book of a month book from November 2017. So I decided to do book of the month arc. And this, in fact, is an advanced reader's copy, even though this book is quite old. It's still the advanced reader copy of it, which I found in a little free library. So that's my arc, and I'll talk more about this each book once I say what the challenge is. And then the third was some kind of celebrity book club. Mostly I see Reese and Oprah. I've seen a few other ones as well, but this happens to be a Reese book club book. And the final kind of the TBR challenge is a prize winner. Man, I live in a place where I just find a lot of prize winning books in little free libraries. And in fact, all of these books, except for the last one was at thrifting, but the other two were little free libraries. This also is little free library. So this is Interpreter of the Maladies, a Pulitzer Prize winner. Short stories. I'll talk more about that in 1 second. And then I'm trying to make sure that these young readers, middle grade, young adults, make their space probably in almost every week's TBR, because it's just refreshing to read for younger audiences, sometimes after heavier themes, such as what might be covered in Interpreter of the Maladies. So I have been excited to read this beautiful, beautiful book and this beautiful cover since I got it at a thrift store. I thrifted it 50% off book day. So a little over $1 I paid for this beautiful pristine condition hardback of this book. This is for younger audience, is middle grade fantasy, I believe. And then I decided to kind of each week maybe throw in a wild card that, at least particularly this week, I think I'll get to a lot of reading this week, and most of these books are quite small, except for where the Where the Crawdads Sing is a little bit larger. So I just decided to throw in one wild card, just something that was sitting on my shelf, also thrifted at the same time as this young audience middle grade book. And it's been there for a while, and I was excited to read it when I found it. So still true. And this is Dark at the Crossing. I'll tell you more about each book in a second. This is just the wild card from these sort of types of books that I'm reading this week or weekish period of reading. So first, Artemis. I think this is the same author as The Martian, I think. And it gives like space sci-fi, and I know it's a sci-fi, but I was reading just a little bit on the synopsis, and it might be a little different than I suspect. It's sci-fi for sure, but it might be a little bit different than what I had suspected, which is always actually joyful for me. It says Artemis is another irresistible brew of science, suspense, and humor. So yay. I haven't had a sort of science suspense humor in a while. I have had a little bit of sci-fi, but not like this. So excited for that. This came out in 2017, as I said before, and wow, the mode year of publication of books that I find in little free libraries and just thrifting even is 2017. In the Country of Men, it's going to be fiction. Maybe we could call it historical fiction because it's set in Libya, 1979. And I think this book is going to be heavy. I got this again is an ARC, not great condition, but I do love a well-loved book. I do. I definitely got the digital version of this because this came from a place where somebody smoked. Somebody read this and smoked a lot, and that will bother me. So I suspect I'll read this entirely in digital. And then when I'm done, when I'm done reading in any format, all of these books, I put them back in little free libraries, and hopefully someone doesn't mind that smoke smell as much as I do. After that is the much controversial, at least author, Where the Crawdads Sing. When I got this at the Friends of the Library book sale, I talked with the volunteer there quite a bit about this book. That was exciting and fun. It's going to be all I can do to not go back to that pop-up sale next month because I have enough books, but just for the conversation about books with the volunteers, and even maybe to go back and say, here are the ones I read and here's what I think. In any case, this was my celebrity book club. This is set in North Carolina, so we're hopping to a different place. What was said of this book to me is this is just such a great story. Historical fiction mystery, maybe. Publication date 2015. So about 10 years old, this book. This book is short stories. I have said my piece on short stories, but then Difficult Women brought me back into the fold of short story, and opened my mind again that short stories weren't just that thing that I identified that all I could get to is one here or there when I was super busy. This is a Pulitzer Prize winner. We know it's going to be a substantial book, and it was one of those books that was owned by a woman whose daughter then, after her passing, placed books in little free libraries. So this is my second one of those finds. I'm not going to write this postcard because I wrote another postcard and mailed it. But since I found this book, which actually I think was my first find, I have a friend in mind whose mother has also passed, who I think would appreciate short stories because she is a mother now of a small child, and who would perhaps really like to write this postcard. So I'll be reading this in this book challenge, and then taking this, I will see this friend next month and pass this book along to her. Oh, Flights and Chimes of Mysterious Times. You know, I have a friend who wants to be a young adult author, and almost always, every time she asks me, what are you reading, or what was your young adult or youth book this week, I tell her, and then she says, can I have it? And I often say yes. I had such a great time with that last, the one that was gifted to me that I gave back to the gifter, The Girl Who Drank the Moon, middle grade fantasy, that I just knew that this week I wanted to stay on the young audience fantasy wave and get to this beautiful, beautiful book. I'm fully willing to put this book back into a little... Oh, no, I got this at a thrift. And it like I said, pristine condition. Just a beautiful cover. I can put this into a little free library, usually the one right by my house, which is by the high schools, where anything that I don't give to said friend that I just mentioned, it's where they go. But if, for instance, I might not see this person for a little while, and I just don't want to hold on to books for some reason, it's almost an obsession to, like, I have to unhaul like the very next week. So if that's true, because I'm already holding on to this one and the surfer book, then I will put this in the little free library nearest to my house. This book's publication date is 2014. And I mean, I think I said it when I did the haul video, the setting is clearly London. Super excited. The wild card, which I just want to move off my shelf, has to do with the border between Turkey and Syria. And I believe it's either going to be like a romance or something of such, where like this border has and people who live on either side of it are going to have, it's going to look at what it's like to live at a border and or be on the other side or be separated by a border. I think when I picked up this book, I thought it was thriller. But now that I'm kind of holding it a little bit more and looking around and reading it, it's probably more, I mean, I can't say historical fiction, but on the realm of that, depending how much they're going to cover, say, the war or the situation that's going on there. Syria and Syrian characters have shown up quite a bit in my last few weeks reading. And so I really like having lots of different perspectives of situations and places. So I'm appreciating that as well. In any case, this is my final book, Dark at the Crossing 2017, for the upcoming reading challenge. And my next video will be the review of last week, and I shall see you again soon, either for the haul from what I traded up from what I read last week, and or for the review of these fine books that I have in the subscription ARC Celebrity Book Club prize winner, young audience, and this last one is just wildcard book challenge for this week.